These videos were made before a 3-day introductory CFR course. It's important to note that we never worked on walking. The course had each participant explore with ease movements that are unique, novel, and interesting. As we watch Stu before the course, you'll notice he tilts to the right. He has a greater arm swing on his left side compared to his right, but that arm swing is concentrated at his elbow and not in his rib basket. He has a nice, solid foot strike on the left, but his right foot is erratic, sometimes landing across midline, sometimes landing out to the side. In general, he has little shoulder or pelvic mobility and holds his torso rather stiff. Again, as he returns, notice the erratic right foot heel strike and his small base of support. After the course, we see he's no longer tilting to the right, and he has a nice wide base of support. His right foot lands as solidly as his left, and he has arm swing bilaterally that is coming from his rib basket and not just elbow flexion. Strong base of support, nice pelvic and rib mobility, nice arm swing, and an overall more solid, grounded walk. Barbara keeps her right hip elevated as she walks, and this causes her to keep her right foot, you can see here, turned out with the heel towards midline. That limits her rotation and keeps her off her left leg, giving excess wear and tear on the right. You can see she has very little arm swing, very little pelvic or shoulder mobility. This elevated right hip also destabilizes her gait, and she tends to veer off to the right, and then she has to recorrect, causing excess muscular activity. Very little arm swing, and a struggle to keep upright and on task. After the course, you'll see how much ease and elegance she has with walking, with her pelvis easily rotating and easily translating onto her left foot. She no longer has her medial heel whip, and she has a nice solid left and right foot strike with a nice base of support. This allows her to move with more lightness and elegance, as we see here. Before the course with Rebecca, we see that she externally rotates her feet and holds her upper chest rather stiff. This is indicative of her intense ballet background. You can notice that her right pelvis rotates nicely. Notice the folds in her t-shirt from her left shoulder to her right hip, but her left hip does not rotate. No folds in the t-shirt on the opposite diagonal. Overall, a rather held and stiff gait. After the course, Becca's feet are much less externally rotated, and this adds to the elegance of her contralateral gait, with folds going from each diagonal of her t-shirt, and this shows that her hips are rotating evenly. She has a much more lively and lighter gait. Maribeth is challenged with getting her weight onto her right leg, and in fact, in a moment you'll notice that she has a lot of pain in her right leg, so it makes sense that she's staying off of it. Her walk is more stomping and falling than it is a nice controlled mobility. She has erratic arm swing and uses a lot of knee motion instead of hip flexion. She learns from the course to actually translate her weight right onto that right lower extremity. She begins to get nice counter rotation of her pelvic and her shoulder girdle. This gives her more stability and a lightness. She doesn't have to stomp, but she has ease and control. She can also walk through her foot more easily, glide more easily. She actually is able to finish this pass and do another. You can see that her arm swing is less erratic. She's using her arms less for stability because she can mobilize through her pelvis. And she also has a more upright trunk. She's not so flexed over. She does another pass with ease and comfort. With Erica, we see she keeps her pelvis held on the right. She does translate a bit onto the left, but her right pelvis never drops down to really let her shift her weight to the left. She has excessive arm swing on the left, and it mostly happens at the elbow. You can see her keeping her weight on her right. It's held up unconsciously. And again, we see that she's not quite able to get her right hip drop. As she comes back towards us, we'll notice that her right foot often crosses midline. There it's across, the left foot's fine, the right foot crosses the midline. After her explorations with us, we see that she has the ability to actually drop her right hip when she steps on her left leg. You see a much more even arm swing. There's her right hip drop. There it is again. Her feet are much more stable. She has a nice wide base of support. That right foot can stay on its side of the fence and not cross over. And the most important thing is that when she shifts her weight to the left, she can drop her right hip there and right there. This makes her gait more even and stable. She also has a softer chest and scapular mobility.